It happens with startling precision. You might be enjoying a deep, peaceful slumber, and then suddenly, you are awake. This is not the groggy, slow awakening of the morning. This is a snap. Your eyes open, and your mind is instantly online. You might feel a distinct physical sensation, a rapid heartbeat, a tightness in the chest, or a feeling of vague, undefined panic. It feels as though someone has burst into the room and shouted your name. You look at the clock. It is 3:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. You try to go back to sleep, but your body feels like it is humming with electricity. You toss and turn, perhaps worrying about the day ahead. But deep down, you know it isn't worry that woke you up. It was something physical. For millions of people over 50, this phenomenon is confusing, because it often happens during periods of life when they are trying their hardest to be healthy. You might be exercising, watching your weight, and following all the rules of clean living. In fact, it is often one specific healthy habit, one that is widely celebrated and recommended, that is secretly sabotaging your nights. You are likely waking up not because you are stressed, and not because you have to use the restroom, but because your brain has perceived a crisis. And paradoxically, this crisis is caused by doing something right. To understand this 4 a.m. wake-up call, we have to look at the invisible relationship between your last meal of the day and your brain's survival instincts. We live in a culture that praises the early dinner. We are told that to manage our weight and improve our digestion, we should stop eating by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. We are told to keep our evening meals light, perhaps just a salad or a small piece of fish. Many people practice various forms of fasting, extending the time between dinner and breakfast to 16 hours or more. While this can be excellent for your waistline, it can be disastrous for the aging sleep cycle. Here is the mechanism that is rarely discussed. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. Even when you are unconscious, your brain is consuming roughly 20% of your body's total glucose supply. It needs a steady, unbroken stream of fuel to manage the complex processes of memory consolidation and cellular repair. In your 30s and 40s, your liver was incredibly efficient at storing a type of sugar called glycogen. Think of your liver as a backup battery. If you stopped eating at 6 p.m., your liver would slowly drip-feed glucose into your bloodstream all night long, keeping the brain happy while you slept. However, as we age, two things happen. First, our liver's ability to store and release this glycogen becomes less efficient. Second, our brain's sensitivity to fuel fluctuation increases. Now, consider the healthy scenario. You eat a light salad at 6 p.m. By 2 a.m. that fuel is gone. Your blood sugar levels begin to drift downward. At 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., your blood sugar drops below the threshold that your brain considers safe. The brain, sensing a potential fuel crisis, hits the panic button. It perceives this drop in energy not as a normal fluctuation, but as a threat to survival. It thinks, "We are starving." To save you, the brain sends an urgent command to the adrenal glands. Release emergency fuel. Your adrenal glands respond instantly by pumping out two hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are designed to liberate stored sugar from your muscles and dump it into the bloodstream to feed the brain. They work perfectly. They save you from low blood sugar. But they have a side effect. They wake you up. Adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone. It increases your heart rate, raises your body temperature, and sharpens your alertness. Cortisol is the stress hormone that tells the body to be ready for action. This is why you wake up with that snap. It is not a psychological anxiety. It is a chemical rescue mission. Your body has just flooded your system with high-energy stimulants to correct a metabolic dip. You are lying in bed, fully charged with adrenaline, trying to sleep, while your biology is prepared to run a sprint. This is the nocturnal hypoglycemia trap. You are doing the healthy thing by eating early and light, but your mature physiology requires a different strategy to sustain sleep through the night. The gap between your last meal and your morning alarm is simply too long for your backup battery to bridge. Once you realize that your wakefulness is a fuel issue, not a mental issue, you can stop blaming yourself for worrying and start addressing the physiology. We need to stabilize the fuel supply so the security system doesn't trigger the alarm. Here are 2 strategic adjustments to keep the emergency generator turned off. The advice to never eat before bed is one of those rules that applies well to a 30-year-old, but can backfire for a 60-year-old. If you are waking up alert at 4 a.m., you may need to introduce a specific type of pre-sleep fuel. We are not talking about a 4th meal, And we are certainly not talking about cookies or toast, which would spike your blood sugar and lead to a crash later. We are looking for a slow burn fuel. About 30 minutes before bed, consider consuming a small amount of healthy fat combined with a tiny amount of protein. A classic example is a teaspoon of almond butter, a small slice of cheese, or a handful of macadamia nuts. Fat is unique because it does not spike blood sugar. It stabilizes it. It digests slowly, providing a long, steady curve of energy release that lasts through the night. This small bridge provides just enough reliable energy to prevent your blood sugar from hitting that critical low point at 3 a.m. If the fuel gauge never hits empty, the brain never panics, the adrenal glands stay quiet, and you stay asleep. If you do wake up, perhaps you missed your snack, or stress broke through anyway, you are left with a pounding heart and a racing mind. You have a system flooded with adrenaline. Lying there telling yourself to relax usually fails because the chemical signal is too strong. You need a physical way to flush the stress hormones out. The most effective tool for this is engaging the vagus nerve. This nerve acts as a brake pedal for your heart rate and adrenal system. You can manually stomp on this brake using a specific breathing pattern often called the physiological sigh. This is not just deep breathing, it is a specific mechanical trigger. To do it, take a double inhale through your nose. Inhale deeply, and then, at the very top of that breath, take one more tiny sharp inhale to fully inflate the lungs. Then, exhale slowly and fully through your mouth, making a soft sighing sound, as if you are blowing through a straw. Repeat this only 3 or 4 times. The double inhale pops open the tiny air sacs in your lungs, alveoli, and the long, slow exhale signals the heart to slow down physically. It tells the brain, the threat is over. It is a manual override for the adrenaline spike. Doing this immediately upon waking can reduce the time it takes to fall back asleep from an hour to just a few minutes. Correcting the fuel supply is the first step, but sometimes the adrenal system itself is a bit trigger-happy. Years of stress can leave the body's alert system stuck in a sensitive mode, where it reacts to even minor changes in blood sugar or noise. In this case, the body may benefit from natural compounds that support the adrenal system's ability to remain calm. There are specific adaptogens, herbs and roots used for centuries, that help regulate the release of cortisol. They don't force sleep. Rather, they help raise the threshold for what the body considers a crisis. This means your blood sugar might dip slightly, or a door might slam. But your body doesn't immediately flood your veins with adrenaline. It remains stable. For those looking to explore how to nourish this stress response system naturally, there is a link in the description below. It offers information on a natural method to support a balanced cortisol rhythm, helping your body understand that it is safe to power down for the entire night. The 4 a.m. wake-up is not a life sentence. It is often just a misunderstanding between your diet and your biology. By rethinking the healthy rule of fasting too long, and by understanding that your brain needs a steady hand on the fuel gauge, you can turn off the internal alarm. You can move from a night of jagged interruptions to a night of continuous, restorative peace. Of course, once you have mastered the art of staying asleep, the next challenge is ensuring that the environment you wake up in supports your health for the rest of the day. There are small environmental factors in our homes that we often overlook, which can undo all our good work. If you are ready to learn more about optimizing your natural health, click the video appearing on your screen now.